QR codes, this is something that we use to we scan with our smartphone. It instantly usually sends us to a web page. It can actually have all kinds of different information in it, but typically it's a web page. There are some ways that most people just send people to their web page with a QR code. That's the typical way that they use a QR code. It's way more powerful if you can try and induce an action that can happen instantly. So an action like liking us on Facebook. It's easy to set up a QR code that goes right to your Facebook page. Or sign up for our email list. You can send them to an email form, make it easy for them to sign up. Sign up for our text message list, all of that stuff. So that's the better way to use QR codes. No matter what you do, there are 3 mistakes that people are doing with QR codes constantly. One, they have no call to action. There'll be a QR code on an ad or something. It won't say anything at all. It won't even say scan me. Just nothing. And preferably what you'd want it to say is scan this and get a discount, or scan this and like us on Facebook for special offers, or you want to have a call to action. People skip testing. I don't know how many times I've scanned a QR code and it just doesn't work at all. So it takes 2 seconds to test your QR code, make sure it works. And the key one is the wrong target. So if you don't have a mobile optimized site, I'm not saying you absolutely have to have one, but you shouldn't use a QR code because it's mostly used by people with their smartphone. So it's kind of like putting your fax number without any designation on an ad so that people just dial it and then they get a poor experience. So you don't want to use a QR code unless you have a mobile-friendly website. If you don't have a mobile-friendly website, you still want to use a QR code. Do you have a YouTube video? Point it to the YouTube video. The YouTube video is mobile-friendly. Do you have a Facebook page? Send them to the Facebook page. The Facebook page is mobile-friendly. So you have other options. Yes, a mobile website is your best option because you're not sending them to a place where they can possibly see competition. But you have other places you can send people for the target. All right, yes. You're absolutely right. There is no minimum size though because how complicated the QR code goes to how many characters it is. So one of the key elements to back up one step is to use a URL shortener. So all these the QR codes, the people who pre-registered, gave them stickers with QR codes. I will tell you what the URL is separately, but they are bit.ly QR codes. They're done with bit.ly. And what that means is 2 things. One, they're shorter usually, depending on the length of your domain name, and they have tracking built into them. So you can go to a URL and see how many people clicked on your QR code, scanned your QR code. So a URL shortener not only gives you the ability to have a less complicated QR code, which is easier for your phone to scan, so it can be smaller. There is I don't know of a standard for it, because if you have a big long URL or you're trying to do a V-card or something, then your QR code is going to be ultra complicated. You might need a 2-inch by 2-inch square in order to see it and use it. But I wouldn't go probably under 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, but that's just more of a personal recommendation. And I would always use a shortener, yes. As far as the locations, one of the places, they're being used a lot in advertising. Anywhere where you're putting your web address, you can obviously have your QR code. They don't take up a ton of space. For best results, like I said, you want to have a call to action. But having a small QR code, wherever you're using your website isn't a bad idea. Where they're not used as much as I think they should be is on the back of trucks. So if you have service vehicles or you have wraps, vehicle wraps, you should have about a 12 by 12 or 18 by 18 QR code on the back. Because while someone's waiting in traffic behind you, they just might scan it. So that would be the second place where I would use it. Menus, there's also spots like table cards for restaurants and stuff, menus. That's another good place to use it. But as far as the industries represented in this room, a vehicle magnet, which even if you already have a wrap, you get a vehicle magnet, have Dugan make a 12 by 12 vehicle magnet for not very much money, I'm sure, and stick it into a blank area on your measure where there's a good blank area, and so you know how big it needs to be. Any other questions overall about mobile marketing? That's the last thing on my list. Thank you for your time.